sound speeds, and the reaction videos seem to be going quite well, so I think we're going to continue those for at least as long as they seem to be helpful. Let's waste no more time and get right into our video. This video is called Best Budget Microphone Boom Poles, and is released on the Greg Alexander YouTube channel, which has 2.26 thousand subscribers, on November 25th, 2020, so at the end of the COVID shutdown. And it currently, as of right now, has 11,952 views and 340 upvotes. I am going to look forward to watching this video because it does not look like your typical big YouTuber approach to something, and so I'm very curious to see what this guy has to say. Let's get into it.
Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about the 4 different boom poles that I use, what I like about them, what I don't, and why these might be good options for you if you're looking for a budget or mid-price boom.
Okay, I already like this video, and the reason why is because this guy tells you straight out of the very beginning, straight out of the gate, what he's doing. He's like, I am using these boom poles. I'm going to tell you what I like and what I don't like about them. So he's already kind of established himself as not someone that was sent a bunch of gear, and he's going to say all this wonderful things about it because he wants to try to impress somebody to send him more. These are the boom poles he uses, and he's going to share with us what he thinks about them, pros and cons. I'm also kind of, you know, I love fall, and this is very fall feeling with all these like crunchy, kind of dead leaves and stuff like that. It gives me a great feeling about this video overall. He's got a lavalier microphone on right here. This guy seems very genuine and very, you know, very trustworthy in my opinion. I hope he doesn't blow my trust in this. I really hope this video is good.
Boom pole.
So he's got a Rode, he's got a Manfrotto, Sandmark, and a Neewer.
Before I even talk about boom poles, let's talk about why you need a boom pole. And this is the easiest way to illustrate that.
Okay, this right here, the setup he's currently using with the microphone on top of the camera, in this environment, it's probably going to sound just fine, especially when combined with that lavalier microphone. Gets too close to the camera, and this microphone would sound good. Gets too far away from the camera, and a lavalier would sound good. But I want to hear what he says.
Is that most of us, we've all done this, myself included when we first started, is we think the microphone lives on our camera and we leave it there. But here's the problem. When you start doing your video work and interviews and things like that, you have this big gap that exists between the microphone and your subject. Now, I'm just in the frame here right now to show you this, but the bigger this gap grows,
and that's true,
your voice, by the time it reaches there.
Now he's in a quiet environment. Because he's in a very quiet environment, it's going to sound very, very good when he's that close. If you start to back off, it will start to sound like it's farther away. If you get more than about 4 or 5 feet away, these video mics will start to fall off a little bit.
Noises that are happening between your voice and the microphone. That's the biggest problem, and that's why a lot of times the audio is not good. But if you close this gap up to within 1 to 2 feet, which
that might actually be a little on the close side, because at this point, you know, yes, that's very, very good for that, but your shot may be kind of wide at that point. It may end up kind of distorting a little bit. When you go really super wide, like a 12 or an 18 mil lens, it actually causes, you know, picture distortion. So keep that in mind.
Is way superior. Now
it will definitely sound good.
Is more commanding,
especially in a quiet place like he is.
You're not competing as much with wind, and
I keep hoping to see some animal like a deer or something back there.
So that's the key.
I mean, the way he walked up at the very beginning is kind of like he's used to being out in nature. It's got a very nice feeling. I really want to see something like a hawk or something fly around, or I don't want to see a bear, but I do want to see some sort of a critter walking around back there. It'd be awesome.
Voice closer to the microphone because you can extend it. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is why these boom poles are so awesome.
Oh, he's got a drone. Awesome.
If you're looking for an ultra portable option, so this would be for people.
Wow, the thing is small. That's like that's a monopod, isn't it? That looks like a monopod with a rubber handle. And so you can just extend that out 1, 2, 3 sections, 4 or 5 sections, because it has like 1, 2, 3, 4 little locks. I'm curious about this. I wouldn't use this, but I can see how this would be a good idea. Now, granted, it looks like it plugs into a TRS right there. Let's see.
Who are backpacking and out in the outdoors and don't have a lot of room.
Yeah.
Typically, this is a great option, and it's not even a boom pole.
Yeah.
It's simply
It's a monopod, right?
Pole. This is
Extension.
the Sandmark
Okay.
compact extension pole. I'll put links down below to everything.
Yeah.
This doesn't open very far.
Yeah.
But for
Oh,
a
okay. So only
you're doing
it's
stuff
two.
like
It looked like it
running
was more.
guns.
It looked like it was more sections than that. I looked at each one of those things and thought it was 4. But yeah,
and only
that allows you to extend it out with just your arm, single arm. It's like a shorty pole. So this is what, 18 inches, something like that?
to just extend your arm a bit. This can be a really simple option, and they're about $30.
Okay, another thing that you might actually be able to use this for, that I'm just thinking about these things out of the box, is if you have a selfie stick and you keep it relatively low and you put your camera on that, like a little lightweight camera. Like I use the DJI Pocket 2 a lot. If I were to put that with one hand and have that kind of floating in front of me, I could use the other hand and float that microphone in front of me and kind of have a boom mic there where I could actually get a little closer with that if I wanted to with the Pocket 2. So it's kind of cool.
And I've used this. It's an awesome little, really rugged mini extension pole that doubles as a great mini boom pole.
Okay, well, I can see that.
Another great option that's an extension pole converted into a boom pole, and it's the Manfrotto Compact Extreme.
Okay, so right there, 1, 2, 3. This is a 4 section.
This one a lot.
That one looks a little longer. It's twice the price.
More reach than the Sandmark. This one collapses down to 17 inches, but it extends to 53 inches, which is twice as far.
It's almost 5 feet, so it's like 4.5 feet long.
Sandmark one. So it gives me a lot more reach.
Yeah.
And this one, again, is rugged. And if I just need to handhold something while I'm...
So yeah, if you were doing like a little man on the street type interview, if he were walking around and he was like doing, let's say, a camping YouTube channel, and he was walking around out there talking to people that were hiking, and you want to throw a microphone over them real quick, set up your camera and then with your little tripod there and then throw this over top of them, that would be great. That would be great for that.
Doing some filming, this one works really well. Love it.
I can see that.
Manfrotto Compact Extreme.
When you got to be light, it compacts. So, I mean, his point has been made.
Though, that these are extension poles or action poles, so they're not specifically designed to be boom poles. So that means you have to be really careful of one thing. These
handling noise.
Rubber grips on the end, so they're a one-handed boom pole.
Yeah.
You're going to use them as a boom pole.
That's a good point, because he's exactly right. Handling noise?
Careful of. Do not put your hands on
That's right.
Parts.
That's right. There's a reason why discount boom poles and monopods that pretend to be boom poles actually have foam on it, is to try to help mitigate handling noise. That rubber there is exactly for that purpose, to try to mitigate some of the vibration, because anything that directly touches it is going to be picked up by this, because basically this is a monopod that's been turned into a boom support. So yeah, this is a great point he's making.
You're holding it with a mic, because if you move your hands, that sound is going to transmit very likely up to your microphone, and you're
What is it that we're listening to? Oh, is he might be touching his lav.
going to get those rumbles or muffle sounds. So action poles are awesome. Just use them correctly if you're using them as a boom pole.
I'm hearing
Keep
something.
your hand really tight on that grip and don't move it.
He's doing a good shot there.
Let's get into my
Got good production value. I like this guy.
boom poles. This is the Rode boom pole. It cost me about $70, and I like it. I actually use this one a lot.
And this is it's got foam on it, so that way it's going to help with handling noise on there. So he has the same microphone out there going to the same TRRS. So at this point, you're going to have to externally wrap it all the way down. There might also be a way to internally cable it, even though I doubt it.
A lot.
Probably not that price
Some
point.
advantages.
No, not with that end.
So this isn't a one-handed operation. This is two hands. It's got this nice big foam
He
grip.
just hit his microphone, by the way.
You can hold that out, and it's light, which is great too. The one con with this one is the locking system here is just a twist and lock.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
And then you have to rotate this in there and get it tight, and it supposedly stays in there. It kind of does. They're kind of a nuisance, so they can take it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of those twist lock ones. Some of the discount poles do that to try to eliminate the cost of the knuckles. It basically just kind of, eliminates that altogether by having it twist upon itself. Those are also not as strong. Those are not as strong as the kind with knuckles on it too. But if you notice, it is pretty pencil straight, and the reason why is because there is no knuckles. Knuckles actually adds a little point of braking in there, and by twisting it and locking it, you're basically taking two snug pieces and forcing them to stay snug, and so it's not going to really bow a whole lot. But then you're not really putting it under a whole lot of weight. If you did, it definitely would bow and it'd probably break, but not going to be that big of a deal at this distance.
Pole, And like I said, it's very light and fairly compact as well.
Yeah.
The last one on my list is this Neewer microphone boom pole. It actually,
He says it like Bandrew did. The Neewer. Anyway, that is the one that they replaced after I reviewed the Neewer boom pole, which they replaced it with this model. So I'll be interested to see what he says.
is cheaper than the Rode. Only cost me $60 Canadian.
But it has really
This thing
real knuckles on it.
Of a boom pole. I mean, it's so well made. Some of the things I really like about it. The Rode had the
816 grams. Alexa, what's 816 grams in ounces? $28.7 ounces. 28. There's 16 ounces in a pound. This is almost 2 pounds for a little bitty lightweight boom pole. Probably because of all the aluminum.
The one foam handle. This one actually has two spaced apart, which is actually, when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense because your arms are at shoulder width apart, which makes it more comfortable, and you can hold it for a longer period of time because the way your shoulders and arms are spaced out.
So what that design is doing two things. It's saving cost a little bit from not having one piece there, allowing you to put some stuff in the middle, and also one of the things it's doing is teaching you where you should be holding the boom, which is kind of neat idea.
Really smart design there by Neewer. I really like how they included
That's what I'm curious
a couple
about.
of cable
Oh,
straps
those are cable straps.
right here that you can just undo and attach.
That's for you to externally wrap the boom.
More on that cable in a minute.
Yeah, so he's going to go down.
This one also has these different kind of twist lock collars, which is actually, I think, a much better design.
Then the Rode one?
First of all, they're quicker to do.
Yeah, totally.
And they just lock really well.
Yeah.
Unlike the Rode, where it's that fiddling with the tubes, rotating them and then cinching them together. It just doesn't make a lot of sense for me.
No, you're right. It doesn't make
So
sense.
This is just
Nobody should be using the twist locks
it
anymore.
Stretches quite a bit farther than the Rode. And I would say it's a lot more rugged.
Yeah, it looks it.
This one doesn't close down as tight as the Rode.
Yeah,
But I think if you want something that's very...
it's also longer though.
This Neewer one is probably a great choice for you. It might be a little long for some of you if you're backpacking or out in the woods.
Now, this is also only a 3-section boom pole. If you were to buy a boom with more sections in it, it's going to collapse down smaller or extend out longer or both.
But I think as far as, like I said, longevity, I think this is a great buy. I think it's worth a lot more money than the $60 they charge for it.
$50 or $60 Canadian, whatever he said it was. Still. So those are his boom poles, the ones he uses. So he uses 2 different compact ones and 2 regular booms.
Important to remember, I can't tell you which boom pole you need. That's up to you and the type of shooting you do. Everybody has different needs. I will tell you that my extension poles are great when I have to put them in my backpack and I'm hiking in for some assignments and I can't be carrying all these big boom poles. So these work out great for that. If I'm doing something that's more stationary and not going as far, I will use my Rode or I'll use the Neewer one. So it just depends on the situation you're in and what works best for you.
See, if it were me, I honestly probably wouldn't use the Rode one at all. I would just use the Neewer one simply because it seems to be made better and I like those knuckles a lot better. I'd be very curious to hear what his thoughts are on the Rode over the Neewer, though.
Look, we gotta carry a lot of gear when we're going on assignment.
Yeah.
And, you know, when we got tripods and we don't always have room for long other poles like this. So just think about your situation, what works. As long as you can get 1 to 2 feet from your subjects that are speaking, that's the key. So what do you need to do that? And what's your situation?
Also, that's the microphone needs to be only a couple of feet away from the actors. The actor could be far away or close. 2
of the most common mistakes that I see, and I've made them. I just made it again.
Okay, what I'm curious about here is he's got an extension cable going into this TRRS, so you got to make sure that is since it doesn't lock, you got to make sure that's a solid connection. You might want to add a little taper on that. And then secure it, actually, in my opinion, would be to wrap this around in such a way and secure this entire thing Like you see how that has a little clamp built in there. I would actually say take that cable and route it a couple of times if you need to, or make a little loop or something like that and secure it. That way that connector itself might not hit the side of the boom pole.
Recently, and I'm just kicking myself thinking, what was I doing? But these are ones that I did early on in my career.
He's a very likable guy.
It's worth remembering.
Greg Alexander.
This cord right here is your enemy when you're using a boom.
Is he saying what I just said?
Let it hang like this.
Oh, you're awesome.
Day.
Good job. See, I really like this guy in this style. He's not trying to be more intelligent than he's not trying to say, well, on the big shows we do it this way. He's not trying to be something he's not. He's just matter of fact, telling you what his things are, his issues that he's run into. He's just shooting straight with you. I love it. That was the thing that I said, is that you got to be careful with the connector. I really want to hear what he says.
This is going to be hitting here, and it's going to bring those muffled sounds into your microphone. So
the handling noise, exactly.
It's so critical. Take this and wrap it and wrap it and wrap it around your pole. Use some Velcro
Please say tape it. There's the Velcro straps that come with the newer pole.
On that pole, so that cord is not flapping around, because it will ruin your audio.
Okay. The only thing I would add to that is to tape the connector or something like that. If you're going to do that, try to get it against the pole. And then, yeah, he's exactly right. Wrap it around there. You can do it one of two ways. You can extend out the boom, add a couple of loops around the end, and then kind of replace and slide your other hand up. So that way you have two, you basically holding the pole, and then you could take the coil and toss it over a couple of times on the backhand, but that requires you to hold it up. Another way to do it is by grabbing the cable and then twisting the entire thing so it corkscrews around it as you twist the boom. I've seen both designs. There's people that will say one is the better way or the other way. Those are two different ways, though.
Here's another mistake that I made early in my career. I always thought you had to have a little ball head here so you could point the microphone towards your subject. And and you know why that was
or just angle the shock mount itself.
Reasons. But number one, because I was using this ball joint, I didn't have it tight enough. It was another contact point.
It flopped down.
And it was loose. And so it
making a rattle.
And the audio was ruined because I had this stupid joint on here that wasn't tight enough, and I didn't need it.
Yes.
These extra accessories, because you don't actually want to be pointing the microphone like this in like 99% of the cases.
Yeah, those are good points.
You actually want the microphone like this, above your subject or close to your subject. You might want to tilt it a little bit like this. But you actually want this pointing towards the ground, and your
usually
is over here. You don't actually want it pointing this way.
Okay, there's reasons to have it pointed outwards. If you tilt your head down, like right now, this microphone is directly above me, but it's angled towards me. If I were to go like this, I sound off axis. So if I look down at all, I go off axis. I have to make sure the microphone stays in front of me at all point. I'm constantly thinking about my sound on this channel. So if you were to angle completely square to the ground, another thing is, if you're out there in the woods, you're going to be hearing a lot of footstep noise coming from the stepping on those dead leaves out there. So at that point, you might want to cue outwards more. Get it off the footsteps of not just the talent on camera, but the camera operator and the crew that are backing up with the actor that's on camera. So that way you're getting a lot less of those footsteps and the noise from the ground, and you're cued more at the mouth. Play the pattern.
Generally, if you do, then you're going to pick up all this other sound happening at your subject and beyond your subject.
It may be better. It may be better to have that sound behind than in front.
The pickup of it. So if you're pointing it down this way, you're picking up the voice, and you've only got the ground down below. So if there's a snake or a mouse rustling around is the correct word. This is clearly
this guy here, it says hashtag Canada here. So he's very clearly in Canada. Maybe that's an issue where you're shooting is just a mouse or something like that starting to run around your feet. Not going to really run into that nearly as much in America. In America, they're a little more concerned. The animals and critters are a little more concerned about getting close to you there. Maybe that's the Canada nice, and they're not worried about you as much there.
But you actually want the microphone like this, not like that.
Depends, but yeah. He does some pretty cool shots, though, I'll tell you that. I like his production value.
All right, if you didn't like my boom poles, I got another idea for you. Doesn't this look ridiculous?
It does.
This is actually a really cheap...
Like I said, I like this guy. He's got a great personality. He makes me smile. Now, in fairness, I have watched this video, but it's been a long, long time. I forgot about this video. So seeing it again, it came back to me as we started watching it that this guy, I recognize him. But yeah, he's an enjoyable guy.
Hack. I just bought it, so I haven't tried it out in the field yet, but I'm going to. And I'll
see. There's some honesty for you.
This is a gooseneck extension. It cost me $16.
16.
It does get me out there about 2 extra feet.
Now it looks like a very hard type of gooseneck, which is good because you don't want to have something that's light that's going to start flopping. And if you put a microphone on the end of it and it starts wobbling, it's going to go down more and more and more. So it looks like it's mounted on there. It looks like it's very stiff. That's good. That's really what you need when you're going to be mounting it to a cage with a handle or something.
I thought this might be a solution for run and gun.
With run,
might look a bit ridiculous.
With run,
might look like I'm fishing or something like that. But run and gun, looking for hacks. I'm a solo videographer.
Okay, so another thing to keep in mind is that if that is really, really strong, you could probably angle it down, set your frame on your camera, angle it down so that way it's as low as possible in the frame, and then back it off ever so slightly so it's slightly above where you would want it to be. And then provided the goose arm is going to hold in place, it's probably going to be like your sound is going to be as close to the actors or on-screen talent as possible, even though it does feel kind of silly. And it doesn't matter if you tilt up or down or anything like that. It's going to probably sound pretty consistent, which is good.
So this might be a solution in some situations where I don't mind.
It's going to be very front-weighted, but...
Anyways, future video coming up. Okay. Hey guys, I would love to know what you use for a boom pole when you're in the field. And if you like this video, please smash that like.
You know what? You deserve a like. So yeah, like this video. I'm going to have to sign in. Don't worry, dude. I'm going to come back and like your video. That was just a good video, wasn't it? I really enjoyed that one. So thank you for tuning in to this episode of SoundSpeeds. Be sure to tune in the future for more reaction videos that will hopefully be educational and not just a bunch of frustration on my behalf. And of course, as always, sound advice. Have a question you'd like answered or want to add something? Be sure to write it in the comment section down below. You can also make a suggestion for future topics of discussion. Again, comment section down below, or you can email me at soundspeeds@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss out on future sound advice.